You're right. It was better to open on that shot. Good morning and welcome to the Wake.Show. I am Fisher the Man. We got a little bit of a late start today. A lot of stuff going on around here, and just got behind. But let's go ahead and buzz in and start right here. We'll get to stuff you should know coming up in just a couple minutes. Hold on. Yeah, one of the things that's going on. One of the things that's going on today, as we just will focus on Sam and Joey.
Good morning.
Is we came in today. There's no cameras. Well, none of the big studio cameras. Call ended. Uh-oh. I'll have to come back. I'll have to try again.
Joey's not having it anymore.
No. Hey, Joey, you were such a good boy. He sat there he sat there for so long. He did good. Oh, wait. Hold on. Here, hold on. I want to do Sam over my shoulder. I like that better. That way, I just look into the monitor and have a conversation with her instead of actually turning around like a normal human being and talking with her. How you doing, Sam?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Sorry about the lack of light back there. You're in the dark.
It's okay. I'm wearing black. It's all good.
What little light we have here, trying to spread it around the room. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to bounce the light off my face back onto you.
Perfect.
All right. Let me try. I thought he said 11:45. Let me check again, make sure. Hey, Chris, can we do 4 o'clock Friday? I'm here. That's not you. That's not you. Wait, maybe it is. 11:45. Okay, it was 11:45. Let's try one more time, and then we'll start. We'll get to other things if he's not around. He's probably looking online, going, "All right, they're not even on the air." So. There he is.
Oh, buddy.
How are you?
It was not going video last time, so.
It's all right. It's all right. We made it. We did it.
Boom.
All right. So welcome back, sir. How are you today?
Good. Yourself?
I'm swell. Thanks for asking. I'm doing all right. You got your fatigues on? You're ready to go?
Yeah, let's do this.
All right. First of all, let's check the weather where you are, because it's going. We might have record-breaking heat in this area.
Well, we got record-breaking heat of. My kids are off from school, so I got a class in about an hour. But, yeah, we're kicking a solid 65 right now.
Oh, that is nice.
And then it's going back down to 27 tonight, so it's pretty awesome.
All right, so Eric Stratman from TNL Nutrition Coaching on today. Talk a little nutrition, stuff you should be focused on, thinking about throughout your week. Last week, you and I talked about switching up my routine and focusing on not eating in the morning when I first get up and trying to have that first meal sometime, either late morning or, where most people would be eating lunch.
Right. And how's that been going? Is that working out for you? Or are you messing around with it a little bit, trying to find some consistency?
There's been 3 days in the last week where I was able to pull that off.
Okay.
But there was a couple more, like the first morning, the very next morning after you and I talk is a morning where I'm out until 1 o'clock in the morning doing a gig. And so the next morning I was just famished, and there was no way that I was going to make it till 11 or 12 o'clock.
Again, we go back to that consistently average always trumps seldom perfection. So if you're starting to get into that rhythm and you're there, and then that certain time of the day dictates a different, scheduling of your food, that's okay. It's all right that your body's doing that because you want to listen to it. But as long as we start to slowly change what the habit is, then we can give that smaller window of when you eat, and then you're obviously consuming less calories. You're more conscious of what you're eating. And that first meal really sets up the rest of the day. So if you have that high carbohydrate or high fat meal, your body's going to crave that the rest of the day. So that's the next step with this, is having something that is more of a quality protein and carbohydrate that you can, maybe it's not your go-to, binge food, but it's going to be something that is going to enable you to create good habits the rest of the day. But as you said, you were going to try to do some walking, maybe a little Planet Fitness or something. How's that going?
Well, one of the things we talked about is trying to get that routine, a new routine going in the morning. So and when my wife's alarm goes off at 6:15, I was telling you last week how I can't wait for her to get ready and get the hell out of the house so I can just get out of bed so I can just spread out and kind of finally feel like I'm getting that, a couple hours of sleep, or an hour's worth of sleep. But instead, we were talking about how, no, I'm going to get up, strap up the dogs, and get out of the house first thing in the morning. So
Nice.
the strapping up the dogs and getting out of the house has not worked yet. However, the getting up at 6:15 is coming along, and here's one of the things that I did because I knew it wasn't going to be easy. Right now, where she gets ready in the morning is kind of in the living room area, and that's where she does her makeup. So I took that table, I brought it into the bedroom and put it right next to the bed, right next to me. So when she gets up in the morning and gets ready, I have no choice. All the lights are on, and I got to get up and get moving. So week one, I would say, far from perfect, but, 3 days not eating until like 11 a.m. noon, and every day now starting to get up at 6:15. I feel like it's a good solid first week.
That's awesome. Well, it's great. And that's where we're seeing that, we're having this conversation and we're going to say, hey, this past week was better than the week before. And that's what we look for, small victories. So this is something we can be proud of. It's just like when, we're coaching somebody a new movement in CrossFit, let's say. We don't tell people, hey, I'm terrible at this, I can't do it. It's a brand new movement to you. It's the best you've ever done it. So this intermittent fasting, same thing with you. It's not like you're doing terrible at it, you're inconsistent. It's the best in your life you've ever done at this concept. So that's one way to really think oh man, I did really bad. Well, what are you comparing that to? You never did it before. So it's not like, the last 2 years you've been really good and the last 2 months you've done terrible. So keep that in mind.
Is most of your training CrossFit style training these days still as well?
Yes. So, I when I founded about 12 years ago, I went exclusively to that because I've been in the fitness industry since I've been 16, which is 87. Wow.
Well, you still look 16.
Yeah, so thank you. And I'm old enough to have a 16-year-old and a 26-year-old. That's really what it is because, when you look at the short duration of workout and the intensities that's there, but really what captured me for myself in training and for clients is that the variation of it. So if you're doing something totally different every time you work out, your body has no choice but to react and give you results. But if you do that same consistent routine every single time you work out, not that you don't get results from it, but your body expects it. Your mind expects it. So that's the two-way street that we look at is how can we stimulate and engage your mind, stimulate and engage your body during exercise. So that's why that constant variation is a big part of what we do. So
this torture that you call CrossFit, how do you come up with, because man, first of all, there's this, people like to have fun with those who are passionate about CrossFit.
Yes, they do.
Because it seems insane from the outside looking in, but I know that you have to constantly be creative with what you're doing, or else your clients and those people who are in that world are going to get bored. So where do you come up with all these insane ideas? You just go to the deepest, darkest recesses of YouTube and go, oh, that jackass there, that thing that killed him, I'm going to turn that into an exercise.
Yes, absolutely. We try to mangle everybody. No, actually, I'm the exact opposite. So being, 45, pushing 46 here in a couple of months, I'm in a different place in my life. I'm not the, 21-year-old kid that's, on fire and I can show you how I can annihilate you. And it's really been exciting because, as you know, we just opened a new CrossFit up here, and every one of my members, I'm sitting at about 75 members now, and maybe 5 of them have done CrossFit before. So I get all of these people and they're, parents of kids at the sports complex that you've seen a few times. So, we're getting maybe some are in their 30s and then everybody else is 40s, 50s. So it's not this approach that, hey, you have to be able to perform as an athlete. That's not something we're looking for. What we want to see is that you're going to get something that is, stimulating to you, but that's what the whole point of the coach being there. My job as a CrossFit coach is to make sure that I'm giving you every possible opportunity to succeed in it, not to show you, oh, you can't do that, you can't lift it. It's something to say, well, we're having small victories, and how am I going to work you out enough that you break a sweat and you're able to succeed in the workout, but also you come back tomorrow we don't want to crush you and say, okay, well, I'm going to live on Advil for the next week and lay in my bed because I can't move from the beating I just got.
Well, Eric, thank you so much for being part of the Wake.Show. Once again, you can track down Eric and TNL Nutrition Coaching on Facebook, TNL Nutrition Coaching. And I feel like this week was a small victory, like you were just talking about. And
best you've ever done.
That's right. The best I've ever done. A step in the right direction.
Excellent. Hey, you guys have a good one.
Thank
God
you.
Bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Eric Strapp, he's awesome. All right. I was afraid to get on the scale, though, because usually, on Wednesdays, I'll get on the scale before we come in. But actually, it wasn't that I wasn't afraid. I just kind of forgot, conveniently forgot to get on the scale. I didn't want to see that I was in the 250 range. All right. So let's get to stuff you should know. Sam, how are you looking on social media today?
We're looking pretty good. I'm getting through it all.
You're getting through it all?
Getting through it all.
All right. We're up and running. Our latency is fine, and our internet connection and all that's good?
Everything looks all right for right now. Fingers crossed.
All right. So let's talk about what we will have coming up on the show today. One less gun. This is stemming from Parkland. Well, this story is about how there's a movement out there and actually precedes this, where you'll see gun owners online destroying their guns, like taking hacksaws to them and other things. And the hashtag is one less gun. So we'll come back to that story here in a little bit. As we wonder if the tides are shifting, if times are changing, if there's going to be a significant, gun regulation. And, I don't know. We'll see. Also, the conspiracy theories coming out of this are always very sad. They are disgusting. They make you nauseous. And so out of the Parkland crisis, because there's a couple of young people who seem to be somewhat intelligent and very mature and very concise in their thoughts. So people are saying that they're fake and that they're actors and that they go from crisis to crisis, getting in front of the camera or something like that. So we'll come back to that. Who was Marjorie Stoneman Douglas? This one came through my news feed the other day. And this is the high school. The high school is named after her. Most students there don't even know who she is. We'll find out a little bit about Marjorie Stoneman Douglas this morning. Female politician accused. This is somebody, an assemblywoman out of California who was somebody who was out in front of that Me Too movement, hashtag Me Too. Even got brought up by, I think it was Time Magazine, like one of their People of the Year. Somebody's People of the Year because of her activism. Well, it looks like she's a little handsy herself with some of her staffers. So we'll get to that story. Billy Graham passes away at 99 years old. I got a great video for you. Snake Dog Robot. Snake Dog Robot. And it is a little misleading, so I'm going to tell you right now because I don't want you to get to the end and be like, that's not a snake dog. There's a dog robot out there, and it's really cool. None of this is not for sale. This is we'll get to why they built this dog, but the neck they put on this thing and the head makes it look like they stuck a boa constrictor on the on the body of a dog. So we'll end the show on that, and also TripAdvisor ranks beaches. And of course, we got to go over all the ones that come right out of the Bay Area. Max Cooper. Are you live on YouTube? I found videos on my smart TV, but can't find a live feed. Enjoy the weather down there. It's 8 today. We should be live on YouTube right now.
Right.
Do you want to confirm that, please, ma'am?
I will.
We should be live on YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, Mixler for the podcast. Right. And then we have an iHeart account and it's my fault that I keep dropping the ball on it every single day. I'm like, I'll remind myself right now to make sure when I get off the air, because we've got it. We just got to load everything. Do whatever you got to do to get up and running on it.
It says we're live.
Okay. So yes, Max Cooper, we are allegedly live on YouTube as well. All right. Let's start right at the top. Boom. Boom. Oh, actually, no. You know what? I want to run something by you, Samantha.
Yes.
Growing up, listening to the radio, I always loved On This Day in History, even as a child, like in my teen years. And I don't know why. I felt like it Like it helped put things in perspective. Not that I was, wise as a child going, oh, this puts things in perspective. But what would it do in my head is kind of lay out these events like in a timeline, and then whatever was happening today kind of weighed against it. And it was just a really cool perspective in my crazy little brain. So I was thinking about that. And I want to go over like this day in history. But I also want your opinion on this.
Okay.
Not that this show has a demographic and we're geared towards millennials or old people like middle-aged people like me or have any, like I said, any particular demographic.
Yeah.
But I do want your thoughts, on this. So it may be a segment that, and the reason why I want to do it is because it's for perspective.
Right.
Is for perspective.
No, I think that's a great idea.
So I fired up on this day in history today. And, it was a big news story.
Yeah.
Malcolm X assassinated on this day in history. In New York City, Malcolm X, an African-American nationalist and religious leader. Do you remember who assassinated him?
I don't, actually.
It was his own people.
Really?
Yeah. I'm sure there's conspiracies and it was the CIA or something like that.
Yeah. I'm a bit removed now from all the history classes, so that's really interesting.
No, you're not. You're 20, 21?
Yes, but
I'm a bit removed.
But to be fair, in college, you know that they don't make you take as many
I know.
or prerequisites anymore.
That was a better disclaimer to this, that I'm a bit removed from
history is awesome.
All right. Well, I wouldn't know this stuff either. I'm just busting your balls.
Don't back me into a corner like that.
So in New York City, Malcolm X, an African-American nationalist and religious leader, is assassinated by rival black Muslims while addressing his organization of Afro-American Unity at the Audubon Ballroom in Washington Heights. And then it goes on to explain that. So here's down the aside here is then some stuff. And again, I did not prep this fully. Wrote jokes or commentary, anything like that. I just kind of wanted to feel this out with you, and then see, and then we'll kind of mull it over for the week or something like that. Toss it around in our brains,
right?
And, come back and go. All right, so is this a segment we do every single day, or is this something that I like but not too many other people are going to be that into? So,
I think it's interesting.
All right, well, we're about to find out. That is interesting that on this day in history, 1965, Malcolm X is assassinated. American Revolution. I like kind of, this is coming from history.com. I like the way that they kind of have these parsed out, if that's the right word.
Wow.
American Revolution, 1777, George Whedon is promoted to Brigadier General. Does that name ring a bell to you? Me neither. Let's see. Whedon was an innkeeper in Virginia at the outbreak of the war, but had previously served as lieutenant under George Washington in Western Virginia during the... Maybe this isn't as interesting as I thought. Sorry. On this day in 1948, NASCAR is founded. And there's the Battle of that. Nixon.
That's cool.
That is cool. You ever been to a NASCAR event?
I haven't, but I really would like to go to one because they seem like that's where it's at.
I've only been to two in my life. One was it was called the Firecracker 400, and then it was called the Pepsi 400, I think. And but no. It was some race that was 24 hours long.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was some race that was 20. The Rolex 24. So that isn't that is around speed weeks at the beginning of the year. But I went from like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. This was the year prior to them putting in lights at the International Speedway there in Daytona Beach. Mm-hmm. So you can't see shit.
Right.
You can't see anything. But we are in the infield, and you know that the cars are going around you, spinning around you. And it was just like 4 hours of drinking, and then we were gone. However,
there you go.
Did get a chance to go to the Daytona 500 and be in the infield and sit in these really cool seats right by the start-finish line. Mm-hmm. An incredible experience. You have a whole new respect for what those guys do as they come by you at 220 miles an hour or whatever it is. And they're this far apart. They're just on each other's bumpers. And it's really cool because when you're on the infield, it's banked. So it's turned towards you, so you're kind of looking right in their doors and the tops of the car. It was a really cool experience.
That's awesome, actually. Pretty high stakes.
Found it. Well, let's click on it because who founded NASCAR?
Oh, I don't know.
His name, if I remember correctly,
if it's Mr. NASCAR, then that's my guess.
It's France.
France.
I think.
Okay.
Or La France, or something close to that.
You're right.
Bill France.
Good job.
Listen, I lived in Daytona for like 2 years, so you picked up a couple things while you're there. And this day in 1948. Yeah, and back then they were racing on the beach. Like, this is how it all began. They started racing right there on the beach and then built the International Speedway. Okay, so that was kind of interesting. On this day in 1972, Nixon arrives in China for talks. Rockefeller imposter and convicted felon born in 61. Tornadoes move across Mississippi. You know, if I do this, maybe I'm going to have to collect the ones that are interesting, put them all together, and otherwise there's just too much of them.
Hey, can I interrupt super quick?
Who are you and where'd you come from?
So Mike just texted me asking if we could take a quick break because Roy said they're having issues.
Okay. So here's the thing. We've got a big deal going on downstairs, and they are using all the bandwidth, and I guess we're effing with them a little bit. So we'll just call it. Or maybe he'll come back later or something like that. But
he said just stream some Bake More music or something.
Just stream some Bake.
It's fine.
It's fine. We're good. Have a great day. Let me say goodbye to everybody. All right, Max. All right. And thank you so much for tuning in. That was a very quick Wake.Show today.
It's all right. Bye, everyone.
See you next time.